It has been 38 days since I last posted a video here on TMG Trades, but I'm back and I'm here to stay this time. The price of Bitcoin is $42,926, and ironically, the price of Bitcoin last time I made a video 38 days ago was $42,900. So the price has, you could say, not changed in the past 30 days. It's just really done very little. It went all the way up, all the way down, and now we are where we are again. So today we're going to be looking at the spot Bitcoin ETF inflows and outflows, because that's getting quite interesting right now. The amount of money that is flowing into Bitcoin from institutions is continually increasing. At the same time as that, we're going to be analyzing the price of Bitcoin and assessing where the price is going to head. If you are interested in that, slap a like on today's video, let's make some money and let's crack on. So, first things first, the price of Bitcoin, $42,926. You can see here, this is the hourly chart. We go all the way up, all the way down, and back to where we started again. However, you can see this yellow line right here. This yellow line is particularly interesting for me because this yellow line is essentially a long-term level of resistance that we've got, and we're yet to significantly break to the upside of it. Now, this line is not plotted 100% correctly, but it is there or thereabouts in the right place, and you can see that we're not currently breaking above this line. However, we might break above it fairly soon. The interesting thing for me would be, do you think that Bitcoin is more likely going to have another step to the downside before any upside? And for that, what we need to do is look at the Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF inflows and outflows. So that's what we're going to do right now when we look at this. This is the spot Bitcoin ETF flows right now. The green bars that you can see at the bottom are the amount of Bitcoin leaving spot Bitcoin ETFs, and the bars that you see at the top is the amount of Bitcoin being bought by the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Now you can see on the whole, there is only one ETF selling. That would be this one right here, GBTC. Now on GBTC, you can see here, every single day, there is a net outflow in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Interestingly enough though, most of that is bought up by these funds here. IBIT. Which one is IBIT? IBIT is Grayscale. Now you'll see that this green, the light green rather than the dark green, is consistently larger in this chart than any other thing. Not Grayscale, sorry, Blackrock. Blackrock is the largest Bitcoin ETF right now and is continually beating every single other Bitcoin ETF. The other one that is pretty big as well is FBTC. Now that one is doing pretty well. Both of the two are buying more Bitcoin than is sold by Grayscale, which is good to see as well. You can see here 191 million versus 447 million, 200 million versus 467 million, 200 million versus 385 million. You can kind of get the idea here that we have a nice solid trend of Grayscale running out of Bitcoin to sell. But that doesn't mean that Bitcoin is in the clear yet, and that doesn't mean the price of Bitcoin is going to pump. For Bitcoin to pump, we need something good to happen. We need good news. Now, what kind of good news do we have in the markets right now? Well, you've got Bitcoin halving happening. Now, it's not going to be that long now until Bitcoin halving actually takes place. I've not actually loaded up anything here on the screen about it, but it's going to be around mid-April. So we've only got a couple of months left to wait until Bitcoin halving takes place. About 3 months' time is when Bitcoin halving is going to take place. And when Bitcoin halving takes place, I'd expect to see a dump, because as I've explained before on the channel, if we go back in time here and we go towards the daily chart and we zoom out and look at history, what does history say? Bitcoin halving, the last time Bitcoin halving took place was at this point right here in the chart. Come on, let's get to it. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Nope, we've completely buggered up the scale now. There we go. Let's get back to it. There we go. Right, so this is when Bitcoin halving last took place. Bitcoin halving rallied up out of the bear market from $3,000 up to $14,000. And then Bitcoin halving takes place in this range right here. And then we had a huge crash. That means we've already kind of had the first rally up at this stage. If you compare that to the way the Bitcoin price is looking right now, you can see that we've had that first rally to the upside. Now, we've not had this huge crash yet. Now, it's also important to point out what caused this crash. Do you remember when we all got locked inside? Do you remember when we were not allowed to go outside and the government was like fining people for sitting on benches outside? Yeah, that was that crash right there. The concerning thing for me would be we do have a very, like you'd expect it, just because it's Bitcoin, just because of consistency. This $30,000 level for me is quite an attractive level. I want to see Bitcoin pump. I always want to see Bitcoin pump, but being realistic about it, there isn't any clear, obvious answer right now as to whether Bitcoin is going to break to the upside and shoot up to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 around the time of Bitcoin halving, or if it's going to dump down to $30,000. For that, what we need to do is look to the stock market. And this is where things get more concerning for somebody like me. Because when I'm looking at the stock market right now, it looks really healthy. And when things are looking really healthy, sometimes they do take a turn for the worse. So when looking at the stock market here, you can see the S&P 500 consistently rallies day after day after day after day, like a growing Ponzi scheme, you could describe it as. You can see that since November of last year, the S&P 500 has grown approximately 20%. In 101 days. That is a very, very significant growth for such a major index fund. In fact, it's the largest index fund. It's a huge index fund. If we go to the daily chart here, you can see that we're basically making new all-time highs right now on the S&P 500. And that is of a concern because typically when you make new all-time highs, boom, boom, like every time, boom. It doesn't generally last an awfully long period of time. So this is something to bear in mind right now. When it comes to what I'm going to do right now in terms of trades and which trades to take, I'm currently trading here on Phemex, for which you'll find a link in the video description. If you do want to use Phemex, I'd recommend it. You can use it here in the UK, you can use it in America, you can use it anywhere in the world right now, and there is no KYC and no deposit restrictions. So check that out. You'll find a link for it in today's video description. I've been having a completely amazing time doing it. And also, if you sign up on the link in today's video description, you are eligible to copy my trades. Copying my trades, why would you want to do that? Well, I've been on a bit of a run recently in terms of not a great run. It's been a lot of chop in this range. I've not done the best job. I've managed to flip an account, double it, triple it, and then lost all of those gains. But I am, historically, over long periods of time, a very profitable trader, which is how I managed to afford everything that I do. Like, we are launching a race team, we're doing all of this. There's so many things that I'm doing right now, and all of that income comes from trading. So if you want to copy me, copy my trades, sign up for the link for Phemex in today's video description. However, back to the price chart. What am I expecting to do right now on the price of Bitcoin? Well, I'm staying out of a Bitcoin trade right now. I want to see some decisive movement. I don't think we have any kind of considerable decisive movement. The concern for me would be, first of all, we drop back down to this $42,000 down here. When we get that $42,000 level, should we lose it, that's when things start looking nasty. That's when we start really looking to the downside. If we go to the hourly chart here, we are forming what you could consider to be an inverse head and shoulders at the same time. So although we've got a lower level of support that we've not really tested yet, you could say, look, we're forming this inverse head and shoulders. It looks pretty strong. The problem would be that you've got a distance here that is that long, and if we move that distance over to here from where we've oh no, saying that it's very, very similar. It's a difficult one to call right now whether it's going to go up or down. Really, we can only play the support and resistance levels, and that's the only sensible thing to be doing in the market right now. So I'm really waiting for a break of these resistance levels up here. That would be somewhere around the range of $43,400 or a break below the range of $42,200. When it comes to altcoins, if you want to know more about altcoins, and I recommend that you do learn more about altcoins, watch my main channel. I'm back to altcoin content on there. I'm posting a video later today about the best altcoins to be buying in this market right now, because where am I going to make the bulk of my money over the next 12 to 18 months? Some of it is going to be trading. I'm going to get my investment capital from trading, but I'm going to get the bulk of my money in terms of profits, in terms of things to buy Lamborghinis with, in terms of things to buy race cars with. Most of that's going to come from the altcoin space. You make your 10, your 20, your 30x's just by holding on to these things for long periods of times. In terms of altcoins that I think you should be buying right now, the next video that I post on my main channel, which is That Martini Guy, it's going to tell you everything you need to know. And there's going to be so many more of those videos to come. So make sure you have subscribed to this channel. Oh, one more thing that we need to check on today. The Bitcoin liquidation heat map. We've got a key level up here of $43,616. If we come up here on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map and hit this level of $43,616, I would generally expect a rejection because that is a huge level of liquidity that would liquidate a lot of people in Bitcoin. If we go to the monthly chart right now, you should be able to see on the monthly chart that a lot of these ranges did get destroyed, but we do have these, like basically every single one of these ranges acts as a magnet. There's $1 billion of liquidations, over $44,000. Keep an eye on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map right now. It is going to be one of the key metrics that helps us understand whether Bitcoin's price is going to go down. But if you are interested in more to come, slap a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.